What if the thing standing between you and your next success isn't about working harder, but thinking clearer? What if your ability to stay calm, present, and grounded, especially when the pressure is high, is the real secret to unlocking everything you've been chasing? Today, I am sharing a story that changed everything for me. It revealed a hidden force that derails even the most brilliant minds. And once you recognize it, your awareness expands and everything begins to align. Have you ever wondered, is this it? That question is the beginning of your next success. I'm Dr. Carolyn Sangal, and this podcast is your space to pause, reflect, and create the career and life you were made for. We explore real stories, intentional transitions, and practical insights to help you step into alignment, purpose, and peace. Welcome to Your Next Success, the podcast that helps you question what's next, reconnect with who you truly are, and design the life and career you were created for. I'm Dr. Carolyn Sangal, career strategist, scientist, and creator of the Next Success Method. And this episode is one I've wanted to share for a long time, because what I learned from one client changed the way I coach forever. Let's begin. In this episode, you'll discover the hidden force that holds even the most capable professionals back, how it shows up in high-stakes moments, and the breakthrough framework that can help you stay grounded and powerful under pressure. We'll explore the real story behind self-sabotage, introduce the positive intelligence PQ model, and show you how to build the mental muscles that turn inner chaos into clarity. When I first developed the Next Success Method, I focused on 3 transformative insights. That each of us has natural abilities, hardwired ways that our brains problem solve, communicate, and contribute. That our communication behavior style shapes how we build relationships and navigate challenges. And that we need an integrated vision for life, one that prioritizes alignment between who we are and the work we choose to do. This approach was based on a holistic view that people are so much more than their job title, salary, or location. To truly make aligned decisions about their future, they needed to expand the lens beyond the resume and consider the whole person. What gave them energy? What drained them? What mattered most? When they had clarity about who they were at their core, they could begin to build a vision for their life first, and then align their career to support it. And the results were powerful. Some clients launched new businesses, others pivoted into work they loved, and some finally understood why certain roles felt heavy, even if they looked successful on paper. They began making intentional decisions about the work they wanted to do and the life they wanted to live. Some even rediscovered hobbies that they had long left behind and began feeling like themselves again. But something kept surfacing, a recurring pattern. I would witness incredible transformation, followed by unexpected stalls. Clients would gain momentum, then hesitate, delay their next step, or sabotage their own progress just as things were coming together. And it made me pause. What was happening beneath the surface? Here's what I came to understand. Mental clarity creates direction. Mental fitness makes it sustainable. You can know who you are and what you want. You can craft the perfect strategy. You can even practice your message 100 times. But when the pressure hits, when the lights go on and the stakes are high, what matters most is your ability to stay clear and calm in the moment. That's the difference between knowing and embodying. And that difference came into full view while working with a client I'll never forget. He was a synthetic chemist, PhD, brilliant, soft-spoken, deeply thoughtful. His resume sparkled, but his story went far beyond bullet points. He grew up in a remote village in a developing country, was raised by a single mother who worked tirelessly to provide for him. They didn't have much, but he had an insatiable hunger to learn. He would pull newspapers from the trash bins just to read. Anything he could get his hands on, he devoured. And that's how he learned about the world, through fragments of ink-stained pages. He earned his education against all odds. He received scholarships and was invited to study internationally. His life was a mosaic of grit, brilliance, and perseverance. When he came to me, I wouldn't say that he was struggling. He was excelling. But something inside of him knew there was more. He had been working at a contract manufacturing company, was creating chemical compounds for larger pharmaceutical companies. But the work that once had been exciting had become monotonous. He wanted more meaning, challenge, and growth. He came to me asking me to help him with behavioral-based interviews. Okay. In my near decade of recruiting for the chemical industry, this is something I did frequently, and my clients had great outcomes. So we focused on interview preparation. We did the tell me about a time when kind of questions. I expected him to have the typical problems, being overly wordy or way too vague. But honestly, he crushed them. His answers were thoughtful, structured, and impressive. He did want to have multiple questions to prepare ahead of time. I wanted to be more in the moment, but he resisted. With time and preparation, he had great answers, even if it did sound a bit like he was reading them. We had about 5 or 6 sessions, and I'd give him feedback on how to improve, then he'd come back and he'd be better. But something felt off. He then wanted me to review his technical presentation, and he tried to cram so many chemical structures on a slide, it looked like it was an entire poster presentation that one would find on the outskirts of a technical meeting. But this was on one slide, and he had about 60 slides like this prepared for a 30-minute presentation. Now, he jumped right into technical details without sharing the context of why it was important or what it was for. He was going through all his various types of synthesis that he had done in the past 10 years on one slide. I listened politely for a couple minutes, and then I had to interject. I asked a question. He lost his place in his very carefully worded script and became defensive. His shoulders crouched forward, his voice got sharp, blunt language, obvious displeasure. He felt challenged, and I was merely trying to help him. And I switched gears. I paused and asked, "How do interviews feel for you physically?" He looked down, then up, and then he said, "Like I'm about to be attacked." That's when the real story came out. He shared that in past interviews, especially high-stakes ones, he froze. Sweat would pour down, his voice would shake, his heart would pound, his brain would fog up, and he would forget the rehearsed stories. He would fumble simple responses. He felt the people were judging him negatively by asking any question. And he felt they thought he was stupid. Wow. And so I relayed to him that if he was selected for an on-site after 3 rounds of interviews before that, and they were paying for his travel, having the entire technical team invited for his presentation, and an entire day of interviews with various members of the team, this isn't something they do for just anyone. He said, "I know the material. I've practiced it all. But in the moment, it's like I'm watching myself unravel and I can't stop it." I asked gently, "And so how will this time be different? Perhaps we should have a game plan to mitigate this known problem. What do you do to prepare for the mental side of that moment?" He shrugged. "I don't. I just try harder next time." But trying harder wasn't working. He left that session with insights, but he didn't return. I followed up after his next big interview. I really wanted him to do well. I saw his potential and his limitations, and I tried to help him get better, but he wasn't ready to receive it. It had gone poorly. His flights had been delayed. He got 2 hours of sleep. He felt judged the entire time. His presentation ran long. He panicked. He fell asleep in an interview. And he knew in his gut he had blown it. That was the moment my light bulb went off. This wasn't about ability. This wasn't about effort. This wasn't even about clarity. He sabotaged his opportunity to succeed. This was about mental fitness. And it wasn't just him. It was the high performer who never negotiated their salary because they feared conflict. The leader who couldn't delegate because they didn't trust anyone else to do it right. The talented creative who procrastinated for weeks, terrified their work would never be good enough. These weren't strategic gaps. They were internal patterns. Saboteur-driven thoughts, emotional hijacks, invisible roadblocks. And I realized, if I was going to help my clients sustain their success, I had to help them build the mental muscles to match it. Because being intellectually capable doesn't automatically mean that you've built the resilience to stay steady when it counts. After that pivotal interview prep experience, watching one of the most capable, driven people I had ever met freeze in a high-stakes moment despite thorough preparation, I saw the deeper pattern. He had the qualifications. He had the clarity. He had the story. What made the difference was having peace in his mind. And so I began searching. There has got to be a way. This is not an isolated case. And that's when I learned about positive intelligence, or PQ. I started with the book by Shirzad Chamine. He's a Stanford professor. And right there on the cover it said, why only 20% of teams and individuals ever reach their true potential, and how you can achieve yours. That was it. The golden ticket. Yes, I want that. Before we go further, let's talk about something you may already know, emotional intelligence, or EQ. You've likely heard of it, and it is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. EQ plays an important role in effective leadership, communication, and teamwork. It helps us relate, resolve conflicts, and make thoughtful decisions. But here's the catch. EQ is just part of the picture, because you can know what to do and still struggle to do it in the moment. Have you ever logically known the right way to respond, only to get unexpectedly triggered and react instead? Maybe a coworker asks a question and you snap. Maybe a family member makes a comment and you feel your chest tighten with unspoken frustration. That flash of tension, the surge of emotion, it hijacks your clarity and can affect your performance, relationships, and well-being. That's where positive intelligence, or PQ, comes in. PQ builds on EQ by giving you the tools to actually shift your brain's response in real time. It helps you stay grounded, focused, and calm, especially under pressure. It's the daily practice of strengthening your mental muscles so your mind becomes your partner, not a force that derails you. At its core, PQ helps you strengthen the voice of your inner sage, the calm, wise, creative part of you, and quiet the influence of your saboteurs, the mental habits that create stress, self-doubt, procrastination, perfectionism, fear, and others. And those saboteurs, they can sound convincing. You better get this right. You're behind. Why can't you just be better? Push through. Don't show weakness. They often disguise themselves as logic, excellence, or tough love. But what they actually do is clutter your mental space and drain your energy. That chemist had tremendous potential. In moments of pressure, though, internal noise took over. The volume of his saboteurs rose. With the right support, he could learn to shift and stay grounded. That's what PQ trains you to do. It's about retraining your mind to respond from a place of clarity. The Positive Intelligence Program offers simple, effective tools to spot early signs of mental interference, interrupt the pattern with quick, proven techniques, and strengthen your sage brain through daily mental repetitions. This approach is grounded in neuroscience and has been tested by more than 500,000 participants all around the world. After just 2 months of daily practice, participants report a 91% improvement in stress management, an 85% increase in happiness, 83% stronger self-confidence, 90% boost in emotional intelligence. I experienced this firsthand. Within 2 months of practicing PQ, my systolic blood pressure dropped by 20 points. 20. Without new medication or drastic lifestyle changes. The significant difference was my daily PQ practice. That shift gave me something I didn't even realize I was craving. Quiet. Not silence, but a quiet mind. A mind that no longer jumped into judgment. A mind that made space for choice. A mind that supported rather than sabotaged. For the first time in a long time, I felt present. Present in conversations, present with my family, present in decisions. I didn't need to become someone else. I simply reconnected with who I truly was. That clarity helped me see that I couldn't continue guiding clients without including mental fitness as a pillar in the Next Success method. Because authentic success isn't just about what you do, it's about how you live while doing it. And that includes how you respond to challenges, how you speak to yourself in hard moments, how you return to center when life tilts off balance. Imagine what your life would be like if your career aligned with who you are, what you do best, and actually fueled the life you want. At Next Success, we support all ages and stages through career transitions, from students exploring majors or careers to job seekers actively searching or reimagining their next move to professionals committed to self-awareness and leadership growth. Stay connected and explore what's possible at nextsuccesscareers.com and follow Next Success Method on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You're listening to Your Next Success with Dr. Carolyn Sangal. Let's continue the journey to your authentic success. That's the gift of mental fitness. And it's not just a nice to have, it's become a foundational pillar of the Next Success method. Because when you are standing at a turning point, it is rarely just about your resume or what job comes next. It is about who you are, what you're built to do, and whether your life actually reflects what matters most to you. That's why this work brings together 4 essential pillars. We begin with your natural abilities, the way your brain is wired to solve problems, make decisions, and perform at your best. Most people never get a chance to see this clearly. But once you do, everything starts to make more sense. Why some roles energize you and others quietly drain you, even when you're good at them. Then we look at communication behavior, how you naturally interact with others, and how that shapes your relationships. When you understand your behavioral style and you learn to recognize the styles of those around you, collaboration gets easier. Influence becomes more natural, and tension does not derail your day. The third pillar is mental fitness because all the clarity in the world doesn't help if you are constantly derailed by doubt, stress, or reactivity. This is where we build emotional strength, the ability to respond intentionally, recover quickly, and lead from a grounded place, no matter what challenges come up. And finally, we build an integrated vision, one that ties it all together. A clear picture of the life you want, and a career that actually supports it, not just in theory, but in day-to-day reality. Each of these pillars is powerful on its own, but when they come together, that's when the transformation happens. You start making decisions from a place of deep alignment. You start showing up differently. And instead of feeling stuck or off track, you finally feel like you're moving in the direction that is yours. That's what the Next Success Method is about. And that's what I want for every client, every listener, every person who's ready for more. Meet the saboteurs, your brain's hidden roadblocks. Have you ever had a moment when something small flipped a switch in your mind? Maybe someone asked an innocent question and you responded sharply. Maybe you felt a wave of energy rise just before a big presentation. Maybe a family member made a comment that stayed with you much longer than expected. You knew how you wanted to show up, and yet in that moment, something else stepped in. It was almost like autopilot took over, a hidden reflex, a deeply wired impulse that did not align with your deeper intention. That's exactly where mental fitness becomes a game changer. And the heart of it? Your saboteurs. Saboteurs are the thought patterns that increase stress, drain energy, limit clarity, and make the path forward feel heavier. They were formed through past experiences, internalized beliefs, and learned ways of coping. But they don't define you. They are simply mental habits. Once you recognize them, you can unlock a completely new level of clarity and conscious choice. Let's go deeper. Imagine you are standing at the edge of an opportunity. Maybe it's a conversation you've been meaning to have, a promotion you're aligned for, a dream you're finally ready to bring to life. And as you step forward, something whispers, "Are you sure you're ready?" That voice. It might sound cautious, but more often it's your inner judge. In the Positive Intelligence PQ framework, there are 10 core saboteurs. Judge, the master saboteur. It critiques you, others, and your circumstances. It says, "You could do better," or "This won't work." It sounds like discernment, but it feels like defeat. Yet recognizing it gives you the first true opening to shift. Controller brings decisiveness and drive, offering structure and leadership, but when it is overused, it tightens the grip and drowns out collaboration. Inviting flow makes leadership magnetic. Stickler values precision and high standards, incredible for details and systems, and when given flexibility, these same strengths become scalable. Pleaser, empathetic, kind-hearted, and loyal. When balance creates a lasting connection. Centering self-care with that creates wholeness. Hyperachiever, focused, productive, and results-driven. Achievement can be meaningful when rooted in your authentic worth rather than proving value. Victim, deeply feeling and emotionally attuned. When partnered with resilience, emotions become fuel instead of weight. Hyper-rational, insightful, and logical with strong problem solving. Adding emotional context makes your brilliance relatable and influential. Hypervigilant, observant, and aware. A brilliant early warning system. When paired with trust, it becomes a grounded readiness instead of anxiety. Restless, curious, and energetic. Passionate about exploring what's next. Presence makes that adventure richer. Avoider seeks peace and harmony. Valuing calm is powerful, especially when balanced with courageous action. Most people recognize themselves in several saboteurs, and the judge, that one tends to be universal. One of my clients, a director in biotech, once told me, "I thought I was just exhausted, but when I saw how often my pleaser and hyperachiever were steering the ship, it finally made sense. Once I named them, I could breathe again. I could choose differently. And that is the shift. Choice. This is not about suppressing thoughts. It's about shifting your inner response. So how do you shift? That's where your sage comes in. The sage is your inner calm, clarity, and compassion. It's not something you have to earn or learn. It is already there. You've glimpsed it in moments when you felt confident, connected, and clear. You've heard it in your inner knowing. You've felt it in moments when the right words came without force. Your sage has 5 superpowers: empathize, creating safety, kindness, and compassion for yourself and others; explore, getting curious rather than critical; innovate, finding new solutions and creative paths forward; navigate, making decisions aligned with your deeper purpose and values; activate, taking intentional action with clarity and courage. Through daily PQ reps, simple sensory-based exercises that anchor you to the present moment, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with your sage. You literally build the mental muscles that allow you to respond instead of react. Another client, a VP in tech, once shared, "I used to believe my edge came from pressure, but when I trained my mind with PQ, I realized I perform better from a place of calm. Stress made me sharp, but presence made me powerful." Mental fitness builds that presence, and the ripple effect is tangible. You handle conflict with more grace. You lead with steady confidence. You stop spiraling after difficult conversations. You gain energy back for what you love, and it doesn't take hours. It starts with 15 minutes a day. When you build and sustain these muscles over time, the people around you will start noticing your clarity, your calm, your strength. Building the muscles that keep you grounded. Let's pause for a second. What if the best version of you, the one who shows up clear, calm, focused, and ready, was always within reach? That version is already within you. It is a return to who you truly are. It is always accessible, no matter the circumstances. It's your natural state, reclaimed and strengthened through daily practice. That is the power of mental fitness. Let's explore how to build it. You've already met the saboteurs, the patterns that pull your focus and cloud your judgment. You've met your sage, the calm, clear, compassionate inner guide who always leads you back to yourself. So how do you strengthen the sage muscle? Let me tell you about Mary. Mary is a high-level executive who came to me feeling depleted. She led teams and delivered results, but something felt off. She craved clarity and ease. She wanted to reconnect with her best self. We introduced positive intelligence into her day. Micro practices called PQ reps. These are simple exercises that shift your attention and calm your nervous system in real time. Her favorite was a 90-second breath practice focused only on the feeling of her fingertips rubbing together. That quiet, consistent act brought her back to center. Instead of reacting in meetings, she shared, "I could breathe. I thought more clearly. I led better. And it felt good." That's the essence of mental fitness. Each time you return to presence, you strengthen a new neural pathway. It's like lifting a weight at the gym, but for your mind. Over time, your response patterns shift. You feel grounded, creative, open, and strong. Others feel it too. One client's partner said, "You just seem lighter, more grounded." Another took on new leadership roles because of the way she handled pressure, with clarity, calm, and curiosity. This shift shows up in navigating difficult conversations with presence, giving and receiving feedback with grace, making decisions with peace and confidence, resting deeply and walking with purpose, leading and loving with authenticity. And it all starts with simple daily practices. The PQ program starts with several weeks of building a foundation. You learn your saboteurs, you awaken your sage, you build the muscle to return to your best self on purpose. By around 2 months, most people experience sharper focus and creative flow, greater peace in everyday moments, more fulfilling relationships, renewed energy and clarity, and it continues. Mental fitness becomes a steady source of strength. You access your calm center more quickly. You shift from reaction to response. You lead from wisdom. You live with more ease. Let's return to our earlier story. Remember the brilliant chemist whose interviews kept unraveling? He had the skills, the expertise, the track record. What he needed was the internal steadiness, the kind that comes from mental fitness. When he embraced the PQ framework, things changed. He walked into interviews calm, clear, and grounded. He could think on his feet, and he showed up fully. That inner shift created outer success. Okay, so today we covered why high performers can still self-sabotage in high-stakes moments, the difference between emotional intelligence and mental fitness, how saboteurs hijack your mind and drain your energy, the 10 core saboteurs and how they show up in daily life, how to activate your inner sage and respond with presence, daily mental fitness practices to rewire your brain, stories of transformation from real clients, and how this work can help you stay grounded, clear, and powerful no matter the pressure. So let me ask you, what becomes possible when your mind is supportive, your heart is steady, and your energy is clear? That's what you strengthen through mental fitness, and you are ready to begin. If you're curious about this, you can access 2 free assessments and schedule a call to learn more. There is a link in the show notes. Your next step is simple. Take the free saboteur assessment, gain immediate insights into what's been shaping your thoughts and energy, and book a free discovery call. We will explore how the PQ program helps you lead and live from your best self. Let your mind become your ally. Let your calm become your strength. Let your next success feel like home. You're just getting started. You are steady. You are ready. You are built for more. Keep going. You're not done yet. Thanks for listening to Your Next Success with Dr. Carolyn Sangal. Remember, authentic success is yours to define and includes aligning your career to support the life you want.